Morning class. Last week we explored Carlson's theory of angles and I received an interesting comment from a reader asking how complicated would it be to apply the same principles to colour. Well, it's actually simpler than you might think. Today I'm demonstrating painting trees just using 4 colours, and I'm using water mixable oils, but you can follow along with acrylics or traditional oils too. So let's get started by mixing the 4 base colours in different values. So remember, the value just refers to how dark or how light a colour is. So first, the sky mix, I'm using titanium white and then a small touch of ultramarine blue light. And this just gives us a light airy sky colour. And there was a little bit of green just left on my palette knife, but it kind of works quite well for this painting, so I just left it in the mix. Next we're going to create the ground mix. So take a bit of that sky colour and then add in some cadmium yellow light and a touch of cadmium green light. And once those are mixed together, I add a little speck of Perol red, and this will just slightly drop the saturation, and this will create a nice earthy tone for the ground. For our slanted plane, this is going to go darker again, and I'm using cadmium green light, permanent green, which is a darker green, the cadmium yellow light, and again a little speck of the red. And this just gives us a vibrant, rich green that's going to be perfect for those angled planes in the landscape. And then finally for the trees, just combine the permanent green and the red to make a lovely rich dark green. I add a tiny touch of titanium white just to lighten this very slightly. Just gives us a dark green so our trees will really pop against the background. Okay, colours ready, let's go. So here's our subject drawn out with pencil, and if you go to the blog you can sketch along with this. I'm using a size 4 round brush from Princeton. This is an Aspen range, and water as a dilutant. So this is for a dilutant of the water mixable oils and also for washing out my brushes. I say brushes, but I only use this brush for the entire demo. So first I start with the darkest mix and then blocking the shapes of the tree trunks, just focusing on the overall shapes rather than any individual details. And next I kind of move on to the tonal masses of the trees. So instead of trying to paint each leaf or branch, I'm just combining the shapes into one tonal mass just to create a cohesive look. And also make sure just to paint in the cast shadows under the trees. This can really help establish that illusion of the strong light source of the sun. So once the tree trunks and the masses are blocked in, I then wash the brush out well in water and just dry the bristles on some paper towel. Now I jump onto the slanted plane. So I'm following the shapes as they just weave between the tree trunks and then leaves in the foreground. After cleaning the brush again, and again just dabbing it on the paper towel, I then start to paint in the ground colour. So this lighter value, it really starts to bring more life into our landscape. And be sure to include all these little dashes of light in between the trees, and they just add a depth and interest for your eyes. And the real fine point of a round brush can be so handy for this. Then the final touches really is the lightest area in the sky. So I apply the sky colour a little bit thicker and then start to paint in sky holes. And if you're using oils, just remember you need to be more deliberate with your marks to avoid the colours blending together and becoming too muddy. Okay, so here's our painting simply blocked in. We haven't mixed between the colours yet, we haven't blended anything. So this is our first mixes and it reads surprisingly well. So now we can start to refine this by mixing between our initial 4 base mixes to add more subtleties in the hues. For instance, a little white added to the darkest mix helps to separate the tree trunk. And mixing between the greens helps with the distant trees. If you wanted to, you could develop the painting further by adding stronger, warm red-based mixes, but this approach already looks great and it's just keeping it really simple. So that's it. We've just used 4 colours and understanding of value. You can create a beautiful, cohesive landscape. If you've got any questions, leave a comment below and looking forward to seeing you next time. Cheers.